Over 65, check your feet. Now, 8 signs you're ignoring could save your life. 70% of people over 65 lose their ability to walk, not because of an accident, but because they ignored a mild tingling in their feet. And most never walk the same again. If tomorrow you suddenly couldn't walk, are you sure you'd still feel happy? I'm not asking to scare you. I'm Dr. James, 75 years old, and I've seen too many friends' men who used to drive out every weekend to fish now stuck in bed. Their legs had been sending signals, but no one was listening. And it's not just about the legs. Every tingling chill or dull pain could be a silent cry for help from your heart, brain, liver, or kidneys. In this video, I'll share 7 critical signs your feet may show, warning signs that could help you catch a life-threatening condition before it's too late. No fancy medical equipment needed. Just your eyes and the willingness to pay attention at the right moment. If you've ever noticed something strange with your feet, share it in the comments. Your story might just help save someone else's life. And if you find this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. A small action today could change someone's entire path in old age. 1. Cold feet. Failing heart. When cold toes are your heart's silent cry for help. Have your feet ever felt unusually cold even when you're under a warm blanket or in the middle of summer? Don't just brush it off as a normal part of aging. In medicine, we call this silent ischemia, when blood flow isn't reaching your extremities, especially your feet. For older adults, this can be one of the earliest signs of heart disease, poor circulation, or even undiagnosed early-stage diabetes. I didn't think much of it either until I saw my old friend Walter at a veterans reunion. He used to be the fastest guy on the team, but that day he walked slowly with a cane, constantly adjusting his socks. I asked him about it. He laughed and said, "My feet have been freezing lately. Guess my circulation's off." Weeks later, he was hospitalized for congestive heart failure. That's when I realized his feet were speaking long before his heart did. The problem is, most seniors ignore cold feet because it seems harmless. But your feet are the farthest point from your heart. If blood's not getting there, it tells us a lot about your cardiovascular health. So what can you do starting today? Each morning before you get out of bed, touch your feet. If they feel cold while your hands and body are warm, pay attention. If it lasts more than 2 weeks, ask your doctor about an ABI test, ankle brachial index, a simple test that measures blood flow to your legs. Also, every night, try lying down and lifting your feet up against the wall for 5 minutes. It's a gentle way to help your blood return to the heart and improve circulation. I'm not sharing this to scare you, but to give you a chance to act before a heart attack sneaks up on you. Listen to your body not with fear, but with mindful care. Have you ever had cold feet when it wasn't even cold out? What did you do about it? Share your story in the comments. Someone else may learn from what you've experienced. In the next section, I'll share a strange but important sign when your toes change color. Don't miss it. 2. Purple toes, silent clots. When your toes change color, a clot may be forming quietly. If one morning you look down and notice that 1 or 2 of your toes are dark purple, a little cold, and slightly numb, don't ignore it, especially if you haven't bumped into anything recently. In medicine, we call this purple toe syndrome a silent warning that tiny blood vessels in your feet may be blocked by small clots. I remember Mrs. Elaine, one of my former patients, 82 years old, who came in and said, "My pinky toe has looked bruised for a few days, but I can't remember hitting it." At first, people thought it was just poor circulation from aging. But I ran some tests. The result, she had a blocked artery caused by a cholesterol fragment that broke off from a larger artery, a condition that can be life-threatening if it spreads to the lungs, heart, or brain. Many believe only people with a history of stroke, atrial fibrillation, or heart surgery are at risk for clots. But according to the Mayo Clinic, anyone with high cholesterol, diabetes, or uncontrolled blood pressure can develop them, especially if they're sedentary. Toes turning purple, blue, or gray is a sign that blood isn't reaching that area properly. And if that's happening in your toes, your heart and brain may be experiencing similar problems, only without visible signs. So what should you do if you see this? First, don't try massaging or applying heat. It might cause the clot to move. Instead, take a photo and contact your doctor, especially if you're on blood thinners or have a history of cardiovascular disease. Ask about a D-dimer test or a vascular ultrasound if blockage is suspected. And to help prevent it, spend 10 minutes each day flexing and pointing your toes or gently rotating your ankles, especially if you sit or lie down for long periods. I'm not sharing this to alarm you, but to remind you that a discolored toe could be your first chance to stop a stroke or heart attack before it happens. Have you ever noticed a strange color in your toes? What did you do about it? Share your story in the comments. It might help someone else recognize the warning signs in time. In the next section, I'll talk about something you probably feel every morning, but never thought was serious heel pain. It could be your liver, kidneys, or nerves crying out for help. 3. Heel pain, when your liver or nerves are crying for help. Have you ever stepped out of bed and felt a sharp, icy sting in your heel, as if you were stepping on a frozen stone? You probably thought, maybe it's the shoes I wore, or I must have stepped funny yesterday. But let me be honest, as a doctor, with over 40 years of experience, if you're over 60 and your heel hurts every morning consistently, it's no longer just about shoes. It could be your liver or your nervous system asking for help. I'm Dr. James, 75 years old. Over the decades, I've seen thousands of seniors walk into my office. And one thing I've learned: pain always has a reason. The question is whether we notice it in time. One of my patients, Mr. Glenn, 74, came in with persistent heel pain every morning. No sharp stabs, no swelling, just a dull, icy ache when he first stepped on the floor. He assumed it was from walking too much, but after more questions, he revealed a history of alcohol use fatigue in the afternoons and a recent loss of appetite. We ran some tests. The results: his liver enzymes were high, and he showed signs of peripheral nerve damage despite never being diagnosed with diabetes. According to Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic, this isn't rare. Chronic liver dysfunction and early-stage diabetes often damage the peripheral nerves, especially in the feet where circulation is weakest and nerves are densest. And the heel, surprisingly, is often the first place to signal distress when your system is overwhelmed. The good news: Glenn didn't need strong painkillers. We adjusted his diet, cut out alcohol, added B-complex vitamins, and started gentle evening walks. Within 3 months, the heel pain had nearly disappeared. And more importantly, he avoided future complications with his liver and nerves. So if your heel is starting to talk, Don't ignore it. Listen to it like you would to a friend giving you bad news. Get your liver checked. Check your blood sugar. Talk to your doctor. Don't wait until you lose sensation to start asking questions. Have you ever experienced heel pain in the morning? What worried you most about it? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might just become someone else's life-saving clue. Next up, I'll talk about a nighttime issue. You may be ignoring leg cramps. They might be telling you something critical about your heart and kidneys. And you can test for it tonight for night cramps, when your heart and kidneys are working too hard. Have you ever been jolted awake in the middle of the night by a leg cramp? It feels like your calf muscle is being twisted into a knot, so painful that you jump out of bed only to hold your leg and wait helplessly for it to pass. I know that feeling all too well because I went through weeks of it at age 74. At first I thought I was low on calcium, so I drank more milk, ate more cheese, but the cramps only got worse. It wasn't until I ran some tests that I learned the real issue wasn't calcium, it was my heart and kidneys. You might not have heard this before, but according to the Mayo Clinic, nighttime cramps in older adults are often linked to electrolyte imbalance, poor blood circulation, or side effects from blood pressure medications, especially diuretics. When your potassium, magnesium, or sodium levels drop, your muscles can suddenly contract and won't relax easily. One of my patients, Mr. Charles, 78, suffered from nightly cramps for months. He thought it was just part of getting older. But after checking his kidney function, doctors discovered his glomerular filtration rate had declined. Combined with his blood pressure medication, he was slightly deficient in sodium and potassium, just enough to trigger painful spasms. We adjusted his meds, added a warm glass of water with a small pinch of sea salt each evening, and recommended he stretch his calves before bed. Within 2 weeks, he was sleeping peacefully again. No more painful midnight wake-ups clutching his leg. So if you're having leg cramps at night, don't chalk it up to just aging. Your body might be telling you that your heart or kidneys need more attention. Have you ever had a midnight cramp? What did you do to fix it? Share your experience in the comments. Your story could be the answer someone else is searching for. And in the next section, I'll tell you about another often overlooked sign: dry, flaky skin on your feet that could reveal secrets about your thyroid and cholesterol. Don't miss it. 5. Dry, flaky feet. A hidden message from your thyroid and cholesterol. Have you ever looked down at your feet and thought, it feels like they've been walking through the desert? Dry, peeling, lightly cracked heels, itchy, but no visible rash. Don't rush to blame it on dry weather or not using enough lotion. I once ignored that exact sign and nearly missed an early warning about my thyroid. One day, I noticed the skin on my feet peeling in thin white flakes. Itched a little, even though I applied moisturizer every day. I chalked it up to aging skin. But during my routine blood work, my doctor found elevated TSH, a sign of early-stage hypothyroidism. According to Harvard Health, when your thyroid slows down, your metabolism does too. As a result, your skin, especially in your feet, the farthest point from your heart, becomes dry, rough, and loses elasticity. At the same time, abnormal lipid levels often linked to thyroid issues can damage small blood vessels, reducing circulation in your lower limbs and making your skin even worse. I recall a patient, Mrs. Patricia, 70 years old, who came in with cracked heels and scaly feet. Tests revealed mild hypothyroidism and high triglycerides. After treatment and some dietary changes, her skin improved noticeably within 2 months. The solution isn't complicated. I recommend checking your thyroid function and blood lipid levels at least once a year. Use a good moisturizer with urea or ceramides, and eat more omega-3 rich foods like flax seeds, salmon, or walnut oil. If your feet seem thirsty, don't just blame it on age. Your body might be trying to tell you something deeper. Have you had your thyroid checked lately? If not now, might be the perfect time to start paying attention. And if you've experienced similar symptoms, share your story. Someone else may learn from your journey. 6. Swollen ankles. When your heart is backed up and can't call for help. Have you ever taken off your socks and noticed a deep, unusual indentation around your ankles? If so, don't brush it off. It might not just be tight socks. It could be your heart silently struggling to keep up. At 74, I began to notice that my legs would swell slightly by the end of the day, especially around the ankles. It felt like fluid was pooling and not draining fast enough. I figured it was just aging or standing too long. But one afternoon while reading, I felt unusually tired, not dizzy, not short of breath, just a strange kind of fatigue. I decided to see my doctor, and the diagnosis was early-stage heart failure. My heart had weakened and wasn't pumping blood efficiently, causing fluid to back up and pool in my lower legs. According to the Mayo Clinic, ankle swelling is one of the earliest signs of congestive heart failure, particularly when it occurs in both legs, alongside fatigue, shortness of breath, or unexplained weight gain. If only one leg is swollen, it could point to a vein blockage or inflammation instead. My solution didn't start with medication. I reduced salt in my diet, propped up my legs at night, took light morning walks, and monitored the swelling daily. Now I check my sock marks every evening. If I notice deeper indentations than usual, I know it's time to rest and adjust my routine. Have you ever noticed unusual swelling or deep sock marks around your ankles? Share it below, because sometimes paying attention just a little sooner can save your heart from something serious. 7. Numb soles. When the nerves in your feet start to go silent. One morning, I lightly touched the sole of my foot with my finger and was startled to feel nothing, not pain, just no sensation at all. That was the first warning, a subtle red flag from my nervous system, and if ignored, the cost can be a toe a foot, or worse. My friend James, who's the same age as I am, once said I thought my feet were just cold. But the truth was, he had long-standing diabetes and never checked the sensitivity of his soles. A small cut, painless and unnoticed, led to an infection. 6 months later, he lost his big toe. According to the Cleveland Clinic, numbness in the soles often signals peripheral nerve damage commonly related to diabetes, vitamin B12 deficiency, or spinal cord issues. When nerves stop sending proper signals, you lose the ability to feel pain, and injuries can go unnoticed until it's too late. Here's a simple test I'd like you to try today. Use the tip of a pen to gently touch the sole of your foot while your eyes are closed. If the sensation feels dull or unclear, or worse, you feel nothing at all, don't wait. See a doctor. Personally, I started taking vitamin B12 supplements after my blood tests. I also walk barefoot on a carpet for 10 minutes a day to stimulate nerve endings. And most importantly, I never go to bed without checking my feet for cuts or bruises. Can you still feel the ground beneath your feet the way you used to? If the answer is, I'm not sure, please don't ignore it. Share your experience with Numb Souls, because your real-life story might just save someone else's foot. 8. Lonely feet. A cry from the soul before the body falls ill. Have you noticed how long it's been since your feet stepped beyond your porch? I'm not asking to shame you, but because after over 40 years working with older adults, I've come to recognize this when an elderly person stops caring for their feet, stops walking, stops cleaning them each morning. It's often not just physical weakness, but a sign that their spirit is quietly withdrawing. I once visited a patient named Dorothy, 82, living alone in the suburbs of Ohio. She used to love gardening, dancing, and never missed her afternoon walks around the neighborhood. But when I arrived, she barely moved from her chair. Her feet were cracked toenails, overgrown, the skin cold and thick. She looked at me and softly said, "I just don't have a reason to go anywhere anymore, doctor." That's when I understood her feet were lonely, not because she couldn't walk, but because she no longer wanted to. Psychology teaches us that when the will to live fades, the body reflects it, starting with the feet. We stop caring, we stop noticing, and then we stop connecting. That's when illness finds its way in, not just to the heart, lungs, or memory, but to something deeper, our inner life. I always encourage my patients to start small each morning. Take a warm cloth and gently wipe your feet, massage the soles, and say something kind to your body. That simple act improves circulation and reminds your soul, I'm still here, and I still matter. If you've ever felt like your feet were forgotten by others or by yourself, try caring for them again, starting today. And if that small act brings you any shift, please share it in the comments. Maybe your story will help someone else find their way back to their own steps. 9. Conclusion. How to care for your health map every day. Did you know that every morning your feet are trying to tell you something? If only you knew how to listen. I call the feet an elder's health map because almost every major issue in your body will leave a mark there. In this video, we've walked through 7 subtle but important signals. Discoloration in the toes, unusual heel pain, nighttime cramps, feet dry as desert skin, mild ankle swelling, numb soles, and finally, the silent neglect of your own feet. Each of these isn't a sentence, it's a reminder your body needs you to come back to it. So here's a simple habit I want to give you, just 3 minutes morning and night. Each morning after you wash your face, take 1 minute to wipe your feet with a warm cloth, check for anything unusual, color changes, swelling, or marks. Each night before bed, try standing on one leg for 10 seconds. If you wobble, maybe it's time to strengthen your legs or check your vision. These small actions done consistently can help you avoid heartbreaking events like falls, silent heart failure, or diabetes complications. And most importantly, I want to leave you with one quiet truth. Keeping your feet healthy is keeping your independence in old age. If you found value in what I've shared, please like, comment, share this video with your loved ones, or subscribe to stay connected. Maybe you won't need this video today, but someone close to you just might. And who knows, a gentle reminder may help someone hold on to their steps a little longer. And that's a little more freedom, a little more life. Thank you for staying with me. I'll see you in the next video.